On the chair.
She'll be okay. Zelly.
I just didn't want to.
You ready to switch to the butt?
Zelly.
You're on me.
Zell, where are you? Zelly.
We want more coffee, Mary?
No, not right now.
All right, quiet on set.
You don't see anything. Okay.
Come here.
You gotta let me know when you're going. As soon as you hit the butt.
Too?
Yes, as soon as you hit the butt, that'll stop. Hola, are we there? Well, look at that. Welcome to the GenX Talks podcast live from Minden, Nevada. And you would be surprised at the things you're going to witness during this podcast. It's indecipherable. So today, I'm not alone. No. Today, we have two special guests. Well,
I'm not a special guest.
No, you're not a special guest.
No way.
You're not even a guest. You're part of the program here. We got Briggs. I wish I could show you a picture of Briggs trying to run everything while he's eating banana bread over here in the corner. And I'm telling you, when are you recording everywhere? You good? All right. So I guess that's good. When I say there's an expression that my grandfather used to use, you passed fourth grade by the skin of your teeth. You know, you barely won. You guys won that game by the skin of your teeth. Well, I don't really know what that means. I guess it means barely. You know, the biggest term barely you could ever have. That's Briggs. Slides in here and he's just finishing tightening things up. He's like, okay, go. Like, wow, with 3 seconds to spare, we're on top of things. But anyway, so
we have 3 thumbs up on the Discord KGXT channel.
Did you check with staff to see if they can hear us on the butt?
This is the Discord. Christopher Seavig, Jeremy B, and Danny H are checking in with yes, they can hear us.
Okay, so the butt's good.
The butt is good.
So let's go around the room here. Sun Valley Fox. There we go. Welcome to the program. Hey, this is good. Just clanking stuff in the studio here. Every time you drop something, I'm going to mention it. Every time St. Donna walks behind Mom's camera, I'm going to tell everyone to wave at her. Yeah, there's video. Yeah, it's video. So if you walk behind her or him, there's cameras. We're going to see you. Hey, he told you to get a book and sit down. You didn't do it. It's on you. You're
Danny
live.
H says, Sun Valley Fox, let's go.
I know. Hello, Danny. Anyway, every time she walks by, that's the butt.
Do you know?
Sorry, dear.
Sun Valley Fox. Do you realize we didn't nickname that the butt? That's a real thing.
Is it an acronym?
What is it for again?
Broadcast using this tool.
Broadcast your radio program using this tool.
I asked that too.
The butt. Well, they thought I nicknamed it. Like, well, what'd you call it? The butt.
You were really confused because I was the one who pointed to you.
Yeah. He's like, we just got to download the butt. I'm like, what?
That doesn't sound right.
That doesn't sound like a good thing.
Sitting on my butt.
So what's going to happen is when GenXMom talks, Briggs is going to switch over to her. When the Fox switches back to here, so you guys should be, if you're hearing and not seeing or seeing and not hearing, well, that's a problem. All right, so in a plethora of things to talk about. That is a Gen X term. I didn't think that was a real thing. I thought, you know where I thought that was from? Was from the movie The Three Amigos. You know, Steve Martin.
It's been a while.
Chevy Chase. They're actors down. They're actors, but they're down like in Mexico or something. Mm-hmm. And they say, well, we have
Three Amigos.
And now he hits his head on the lights. Okay.
Why are you mentioning that?
Because you keep doing it.
Okay.
Finish the program. Stop. Let's not
Just produce. Just go. Produce.
It's kind of like when I chime into his program and I say something like, hey, everybody, how's it going? He jumps in, there's my dad backseat driving, and he brings it to the forefront anytime I make a comment. But God...
Just roll with it, Bruce.
God help me if he bumps the lighting. All right. So, what was I saying? Oh, Three Amigos.
And plethora.
That
the
was
word plethora. That's the word of the day.
The word of the day is plethora. But
what does it mean?
It means a bunch. You got extra. You got a plethora.
Because remember my rule growing up, the kids can only use a word unless they knew what it meant.
She
remember
used to do that with kids. They'd say some word and usually leaning towards a cuss word.
Yes.
And then she'd stop and go, what does that mean? What does that mean?
Right.
I don't know. Then you can't use it. You don't know what the word means. She'd grab them by them. You didn't know. She'd tell you don't use it anymore. You got to go figure out what the word means before you can use it. You can't just repeat slang in our house. No.
No, you got to know what it means.
So did she grab them by the scruff of their neck?
Oh, here we go. You know, if you want people to take you seriously, you need to stop using the word malarkey, scruff.
Malarkey. You're a bunch of malarkey.
That's a bunch of malarkey. You know, he told me that word today. that he said in the 70s. I'd never heard it.
Well, I kind of heard you guys talking about it. What was it?
What was it called?
Twitching.
What does that
That
mean?
was twitching.
What does that mean?
You know, groovy. It's cool. You know, you've heard groovy.
Wow,
Well,
that
yeah.
truck is twitching.
That truck is twitching. I don't know. That must have been a very short-lived terminology in the. What are you doing?
I remember.
Oh,
He's over here
Zelly.
with his nose in his knees. And I'm like, what's
Zelly,
the producer doing? The dog is laying on the headphone cord and he can't get her off of it.
where's the dog handler?
Yeah,
Oh,
where's the
come
dog
on.
handler?
Oh, okay, here comes the butt.
Zelly.
Do you get it figured out?
Sell.
Well, you can quit saying that because I'm going to keep doing it.
Okay, we're off.
All right.
Okay.
So twitching, there was a short-lived.
I have another definition for twitching, but okay.
What's your
Twitching.
That's
Did everybody
now,
see that
that's
when Mom did that?
today. Yeah.
Twitching.
All right, are you ready now? All right.
Switched over just like she did it just so fast. I was switching over.
Oh yeah, with Mom, you got to have your hand on that. You can't reach over. Or you've missed it. Pull your hand back. It's already too late to switch over between characters. We had one in the 80s that lasted for about half an hour. It was called Hard. It's like, oh, instead of saying, oh man, that's cool, it was, oh man, that's hard.
I don't remember that one.
That was about.
That must have been a guy thing.
It was half an hour, and they're all guy things. Chicks, you guys catch on to our phrases way later. You guys don't use them until we've perfected them. Then you slide in.
Gag
And
me with the spoon.
Gag me. Okay, that was a chick one. That was a chick one all the way. Gag me with a spoon.
Well, I think the reason why they were using twitching is back in the day you couldn't say bitching because you get your ass kicked from your parents. You know, it was a cuss word back then, even though now it doesn't
So the
matter.
teenagers knew what they were actually saying, but they
Yes.
coded it.
Yes, exactly.
Well, I did that once in front of my parents and didn't cuss at all. I said, "Father mucking bun of a sitch," and apparently that was close enough to still get a backhand. I was like, "What? I didn't cuss. What's the problem here? Did I cuss? I didn't cuss."
Who did it?
My
Who
mom.
Oh, your mom.
Yeah,
Oh,
my
I
mom.
could see your mom do
my
that.
mom backhanded me really quick on that. There was
Grandpa used to just plug you one. Just
Well, yeah, Grandpa didn't hit me very often, but when he did, you knew it. I remember the first time my grandpa punched me. You know, he was a stocky World War II vet. He punched me.
What'd you do?
I'm trying to remember. We were out on the patio. They had an enclosed patio in Sun Valley, California, and my grandma got mad at something I was doing. She goes, "Go get me a Twitch." Or a switch.
Switch,
Sorry.
not a
Go
Twitch.
get me a switch. She said, go get me a switch. And that means you had to go out, you had to break a branch off a tree and strip the leaves off of it and bring in this flexible whip thing. Now, that had happened to me before, as they say. And this particular time, I guess I was 8 or 9. I went out and got a log. I got the heaviest thing I could
Because your
carry.
grandma couldn't lift it.
Right.
Oh,
and I
God.
remember setting it I came back in the patio with it and then set it on the picnic table. And it was like, all right, hit me with that. There's no way she's going to swing that. She couldn't even pick it up. And I mean, I got the heaviest log laying on the ground I could find. And yeah, right. I just my grandpa had just gone out to the fridge. He had a fridge in the patio. I think he got a beer or something. He was just walking by. And just the timing was perfect. So I threw it on there and said, "Well, hit me with that." And she looked at me and he just goes, wham! As he walked by, he just clocked me and just kept walking, didn't say a word.
You backmouthed grandma.
Well, yeah, I was,
That was it.
messing with his chick and he was going to let me know. And that was part of it. You know, he's like, all right, well, punishment over. Because I'm rung my bell and I got up. I'm like, should have just got a switch.
Yes.
But-
End of story.
Well, how messed up is that for your parents to tell you, go get the weapon choose your weapon that I'm going to beat you with?
Now, didn't you do that the first time?
What's that?
Go get
Get
a
the
switch?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
The first time.
I mean,
duh.
many times I had done this. I've been in trouble. So I knew that's how I came to the conclusion, like, things got to change around here. I mean, by this time I had already learned when you're going to get spanked at school, which we went to a private school where you did get spanked.
I didn't.
You bunch of pansies over there, don't ever lay a hand on my child. Well, that's why your child turned out to be idiots. And they fucking needed a hand on them.
Our parents signed a paper at Village saying that it was okay to get spanked.
Yeah, my mother signed one and said, do whatever you want. I was like, whoa.
I got spanked. Did you get spanked by mom or dad?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Spanked or
Don't forget. I was the experimental child.
Yes, I know. That's why I'm
the first
asking.
one. Yeah. Oh yeah. I had a handprint on
So did I.
my butt.
I went and showed Dad.
Yeah.
I went in there. I was crying. My butt hurt so bad. I pulled my pants down.
How
right
old
in
were
front of him.
you?
Probably 9,
16.
10.
And what did you do? Can you
I
give us
can't
the
even
whole-
remember what I did.
But
I don't even remember.
You got him mad.
I did something wrong,
Yeah.
and our dad's hand was like a paw, like a bear paw.
Yeah. It was.
And whether, he might have not done it full force, but it was big enough that he hit my butt just perfect.
Yep.
That I had the biggest handprint. I went in there crying and pulled my pants and go, "Look what you did!" And then he apologized. He
Right?
apologized.
He always did. Yeah. Because I remember the same thing. All 4 fingers and a thumb was imprinted on my butt. I
Yes.
mean, it was just a perfect strike. I mean,
Wow.
He was
I think
good
he's
at
been
it.
practicing.
Yes, he was really good at it.
Yeah.
But we were good kids. I don't think any of us really did anything.
Let me back up a little bit. So your parents, they got married in Chicago, is that right?
That's correct. Yeah, they did.
And your dad was stationed in Pensacola or somewhere near there?
Yes, he was. Correct.
So the stories that I've heard, he used to drive on the weekends when he had Liberty from Florida all the way to Chicago to date or visit your mother
Before they were married.
before they were married.
Yeah.
And then the guy married in Chicago, and your dad was graduating from an aeronautical school
I
or
believe
engineering.
aeronautical engineering.
So he had a choice. He
On
told
Navy Pier. Yeah.
he told your mother he had 2 choices of 2 towns to live in.
3.
Oh, what were they?
Georgia, Atlanta, Georgia, St. Louis, Missouri, and Burbank, California.
Well, I think one was Seattle.
Was
Because it
it?
was
That
gonna
would
go
make
for-
sense.
Yeah, it was Seattle.
Okay, well, maybe
St.
it was
Louis,
Seattle.
and Burbank.
Okay.
Yeah.
So he had a choice and said,
Sorry.
That's
"Where-"
okay.
And he
You were
says,
there.
And he says, "Where do you want to live?" And she picked Burbank.
Yeah.
Why?
Because she visited California previously on a vacation.
Because there's nobody here. She didn't know anybody. They didn't know any friends out here,
Yeah,
right?
but she came out with her mom and dad and sister out to California. They came out for a visit, and mom said that she loved the weather. She just loved it out here because
Right.
they grew up in Chicago with the cold and everything.
Right.
She really, really loved California, so that's what she picked. But they knew nobody out here when they came here.
Correct. Yep.
And then, so 1954, they moved
No,
out here,
55.
53?
5. I was 9 months old when they moved out.
So you were born in Chicago also?
Yes, I was.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
So they had a newborn baby. My dad had a job. Our dad had a job. And they didn't have a place to live.
No place to live and didn't
they
know
got-
anybody.
No.
Wow.
Sounds familiar.
Yes, it does.
A little bit.
Yes, it does. He should have known better, right? He should have known what you're
Yeah,
doing.
but he had a job.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
So he was a little smarter than you.
I think mom.
lot.
I think mom said that he was making like $75 a week. That was our dad's job, $75 a week,
Now, think about
and no car and no driver's license.
And mom couldn't drive either.
Yeah.
She
Wow.
didn't know. She didn't know how to drive.
I think that not trying to intentionally skip around here, but I think one of the coolest things to know is that, so they moved out there on a shoestring, and he, at some point during his time out here, he becomes part of the Skunk Works program that develops the SR-71 Blackbird.
Correct.
And you're talking about a guy who is, years before he's driving in his car all night to date some girl in Chicago, and then he's part of one of the most important programs in the country. That's just amazing to me.
Yeah, I think he worked on the X-15, the U2. U2.
The
not
U2, he did
the
do that.
U2. Yeah, the F-104
Now, okay, I know what the U-2 was. That was
spy plane.
the spy plane, super
Correct.
tall spy plane, 80,000 feet or whatever. What was the other one?
X-15, that was kind of I believe, I'm not a aeronautical guy, but I believe it was from trying to get into the space age, I think, with the testing the jet engines and stuff like
okay.
that, see if they can break the sound barrier. Again, I don't know the specifics of
I
it,
guess
so-
that was a big thing back then. They didn't know what would happen if you broke the sound barrier. There's all these stories about they thought the plane would explode. They
Yeah.
said, no, you can't do this. It's going to be like hitting a brick wall when that happens.
That was prior to the SR-71 because the SR-71 goes 3 times. the
Well,
speed of sound.
plus.
Or plus,
It's Mach 3.
Yeah, Mach 3.
Mach 3.
I don't think they've ever said how fast it really went. I don't
Probably
think,
not.
They won't.
And you can't, it's hard to track it, by the time you get a lock on it. He's like, was that an airplane at 70,000 feet or a meteor passing low?
You know what was the most amazing thing is the photography on it. As fast as it was going, it made the clearest pictures that you could see out of it going that fast.
Dad said that you could, the camera would take a picture of your license plate on your car.
Yeah, from 70,000 feet.
Exactly.
Yes.
And that was back in the 60s?
Yeah, that's when did it go into commission? In 66, I think?
It came out of commission right when I graduated high school. It's 85, 86.
They brought it back because they had it in the 90s flying around the space shuttle. When it landed, they put those things up there. If there was something coming in, those things would go out. I guess the idea was, what I heard was like, well, if somebody shot a missile at the space shuttle, it could go out and it could lock on to the SR-71 and it could fly away. The missile would chase it, and then the SR-71 would just outrun it.
Right.
So they had 6 of them flying in different places. Like, what are you going to do? And they've said now a lot of that stuff has become declassified from what your dad did. And they said, we got shot at. They had no defensive weapons at all.
No.
Just go ahead and shoot. We're not going to be here,
Yeah,
that's what I heard. One of the stories was they have shot at it, but it explodes. The missile explodes 5 miles behind the plane. It's like,
we're gone.
Yeah.
There was a story that came out one time I read where an SR-71 pilot, he was mad about something and he was trying to, coming back across from South America back to Edwards. So he was, I guess the Mexican government or Salvadorian government, somebody complained. You're flying up there and, we see and like, well, we're minding our own business. You don't have an Air Force anyway, so what do you care? And they lodged a formal complaint with the embassy while he was up there. So the pilot came down to about 600 feet and broke the sound barrier twice and in a straight line broke every window in the country and like in an 800-foot strip that he was above. Just boom, 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 boom. He's like,
wow.
All right.
We're here.
Yeah, he's like, okay, bitch about that.
It's its calling card.
Go fix your windows.
With that being said about the sonic booms, they used to fly the aircraft over Burbank, and we used to hear the boom over the valley. You could actually
we could hear. Well, yeah, when I was in Sun Valley, we could hear that from time to time, and my grandpa would tell me there's only like 2 planes that can do that. At that time,
right?
In the late 70s, how many planes could go Mach plus and in that, especially in that area.
That's probably why they went out and tested it in Edwards after. Probably people complained.
Well, they were probably blowing out windows.
Yes.
That's why.
So they ended up going out to Edwards.
The other unique thing, and I know GenXMom was part of this story, but you had heard it, was everything was so classified on the SR-71, he wouldn't talk about it hardly at all.
Couldn't.
And my grandfather's friend, Ralph Metcalf, wouldn't talk about it. He was part of the ground crew. So he went where it went, and every time it landed, he'd roll up the parachutes and they'd refix the cable. I mean, that's what he did. He wouldn't talk about it either. So here's all this secrecy going on about the SR-71, and my grandfather had 2 friends that were in there. Your dad was part of the program. And then somebody brings to you or to him a book.
Oh, I found it.
From a bookstore.
I found it.
You found it.
Yes.
And so this book just completely colorfully.
Well, let me tell the story because it's funny. I didn't buy it right away because I found it in an aviation bookstore in Burbank. Just happened it was on Victory Boulevard near Hollywood Way. Walked in there, was looking around, and there was this big, thick, like 3-inch book, and it said SR-71. I don't know what it said. Anyways, it was the flight plan. It was the manual for it, the flight manual for it. And I pulled it out, and my dad's printing is exceptional. Like you can tell it's his. So I was flipping through it, and I could see it. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is
Wait. So what you're saying to the audience at home is, in the book, you could see handwritten notes on some of the pages.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
So, but nothing saying that it was my dad's or anything. And the book at that time was like $100. It was probably in the 90s, early 90s, mid 90s. It was $100. I didn't have $100 to spend on that thing. So I left. I had a conversation like days later with Dad and said, I found this book. And he goes, what? And he got a little, I go, is there something wrong? He goes, that's not supposed to be out in the public.
Yeah.
I said, well, it's there. And he goes, where'd you find it? So I told him, he drove me over there and I found it. It's still up there on the thing. Dad bought it. He bought the book. We went home. He flipped he knew exactly where his page was and everything. And he goes, yep, that's mine. The only thing he said is every engineer that did a page or did the calculations, they always put their initials at the bottom of the page. All the initials were gone in the book. But then he said, okay, one of the things on the SR-71, he said, was that it flew by the stars, by the astronomical stars. It could fly. So he opened it up to that section. He goes, well, it's there. He said everything in that book
all the top secret stuff.
All of it was in there.
Wow.
And he bought the book and he kept it for the longest time. The worst part about it is a neighbor of ours down the street asked to see it. He was doing some documentary on the SR-71. I can't think of the guy's name at the moment. He asked to borrow the book, and he never brought it back. My dad never.
That's
where is
not
that?
good.
Yeah, where is
Dad
That
never
would have
got
been
it back.
something, and you never seen one like it
I've
again.
never seen one like it again.
I think part of our audience is going to think this is a fascinating story, and half of the audience is going to be like, so your boring wife at 27 years old was hanging out in aviation bookstores? During my leisure time, I was strolling through an aviation bookstore one day, and whoa, you were what? Well, just bored one day. When a girl
it
has
was a hobby shop, hobby at aviation.
a girl has a little free time. I think they all go to 27-year-old
like
girls
books.
go to aviation bookstores just to see what's going on.
Well, I don't know what to tell you.
Ladies and gentlemen, I will submit to you that I have made her way cooler. Yes, you're welcome, America
brother.
and Denmark. I'm just saying.
I wish I still had that book. I wish he never gave that away.
So in the introductions to your family, we've already discovered that your dad never liked me, never will, and learned how to shut me down quick. But there was a few things. Let's see. The introduction to the people in your family. I thought your sister was a complete know-it-all. That really rubbed me the wrong way.
We're not saying anything.
No, you don't have. You two don't have to say anything. I'm telling you, from the moment I met
I take
her,
the fifth, Senator.
it was like everything she talked about. You could literally. We were over at your parents' house for some holiday, and it wasn't just her. It was her daughter and son-in-law. It's like all three of them were just the three know-it-alls of the planet. And I'm sitting there, and someone asked your dad about a camera. It's like, and how does the camera take a picture? And your dad was going to explain about how light reflects, and they have special ink on the film, and just takes captures the image with the light in front of it. That's about the basics for a 10-year-old, to understand that. And man, your extended family went in with how cameras are designed, how they're built, what shutter speed is, and they got some of it right. And I'm just listening, going, nobody fucking asked you.
She's the middle child.
She was like that. Then your dad comes along. My first introduction with him, after I fought with him to say, yes, I could ask you to get married, which was like pulling fucking teeth. I got that part done. Then you left for those 2 hours, and they tried to get me drunk.
Yes, they did.
Your parents tried to keep pouring. Within 2 hours, they must have given me like 11 shots of whiskey. And so, what are you really doing with our daughter? Where are you really going? And what are your plans? And what do you drive? And how much is in your bank account? I'm like, I drive an old van. I got no money. I don't have anything. So, and then your brother was no different, though. Your brother.
I like the segue right there. Let's rip this one. Now we'll go to the real
from one
one.
asshole to another.
Wow.
You
That's
went.
Mr. Asshole.
That's Mr. Politely, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay.
So she goes down to your parents' house for something, and you were there. I wasn't around, and she called me and says, "Oh, my brother has something for you," or it was from up here. And she goes, it's so important, and I'm bringing it back for you. You need to get her some. It was some fucking motorcycle that was totally not usable.
Oh, that was.
It was the tires were ripped and shredded. The motor was seized up.
That? You're
it
right.
had a dented orange tank. I go, this is literally. He gave me this like, throw my shit away. I don't want to drive to the dump.
You wanted it for the boys. I can't remember.
There was no way this thing was. I mean, you could buy another one. It was no way this is fixable. And you got mad at me. I'm like, this is a pile of shit. She's like, oh, that's from my brother. How dare you? She got mad.
Was that the one from Bob O'Brien?
No,
that wasn't
we
that
bought
one.
that up here, but it was for Andrew. Andrew wanted it. Yeah.
Okay.
Hey, that thing ran. What do you mean?
It wouldn't kick over. It was locked. Means no. It wouldn't kick over. It was locked up solid.
Know that Bakersfield terminology.
Here, I should have added a visual. There you go.
Do that.
I go, what a hunk of junk. She was mad. She made me keep it on the side of the house for like 2 years.
Like there's nothing on the side of the house?
Yeah, exactly.
That's my junk. I don't need your
He's
junk.
got lots of junk.
So yeah, that was the first one. Then there was like, well, after we got past the motorcycle debacle, she's like, my brother has my dad's truck, and I'm like, it's a 3-speed, and it's this, and I'm like, okay, now why can't we have that? That'd be kind of cool. So a month later, she comes back, he sold it. Of course he did. I'm not getting that
Because you didn't believe me that I drove 3 on the tree.
I didn't believe you until you actually did the motion of it. Because a lot of people, oh yeah, I've driven a 3 on the tree, and they make the motion like a regular shifter, but they pretend it's up here.
Right.
And it's like, until you've actually driven it, it's just an H pattern.
Yeah,
there's-
on the steering column.
Yeah, there's only 3 gears in reverse.
Down, up, and down.
Yeah, but unless you've actually driven one, people can't fake it because you don't know to pull in and second and third. They don't know. So
correct.
I didn't believe you until you said, until you showed, no, you get it and you did it. Then I knew.
Yeah.
But I've run into people in person that, I've driven just in barbecues or whatever. And I say, yeah, what's it like driving a 3? Yeah, just 3. It's on the dash, the tree. It's over here, right? No, you're not even close. The other one people don't know, and I barely know because I only did it like twice in my life. I don't even think they have this anymore on big rigs. They had double clutching.
I've heard of that.
And I didn't know what that. My dad, I drove an old Brockway one time. Not that anyone's going to know what a Brockway is. Conventional cab. I think it was from the 60s or maybe 70s. And we got this semi running on my dad's, the 126. We called it Funky Town, where his shop was across. It was on the 126.5.
Right
down
near
the,
Indian Dunes.
Yeah, a little bit closer to, going towards the Indian Dunes. Anyway.
That's way back.
We got it running on his property, and he got some old tires for it, and I learned how to. I drove it twice, but I did get it. I understood, the premise behind it and what a tag axle was, and so, we figured some stuff out like that.
I actually thought the 3 on the tree was easier than the shifting
I
down
did too.
below.
By a lot.
Yeah.
I thought it was much easier. To do it.
I thought so too, especially when you had a big rock crusher trans. Those had those big cast iron 4-speeds. And man, it was such a long throw, of the gear shift, on those things. It's like, oh my God, I got to get in the passenger seat to get this into 3rd gear.
Right, right. And the linkage or the rod was like 6 feet long.
But the fads and styles back then and stuff you did, it's kind of cool to see. Now it seems like since 2000 to even now, all they do is bolt on plastic on the outside of their car or neon colors. They change the wheel. There's not a lot of style that they're actually changing on these things that I don't see. Kids now, maybe there's professionals that do it, but I don't see kids working on their cars every weekend. No,
put the Kraggers on.
Yeah,
and the white raised leather tires, and oh man, I think it was curb feelers. That was a big thing.
Yeah.
Ask him how many cars he's had. Like even in your teenage years, how many did you have? You had.
Let's see. I had the Fred Flintstone mobile, and then I had the Model T, and
No.
then
No.
Wow.
I don't remember.
You had the van.
Well,
You had the
several before.
Datsun.
Yeah,
truck.
pickup. I had a '64 Malibu SS.
Wow, I bet you wish you had that still.
Oh man, that baby was cherry.
There it is, cherry.
There's the baby was
There
cherry.
you go.
See,
See?
but I know what that means.
I know.
I was part of that.
Yeah,
I'm trying to think.
It was a babe magnet. Yeah, that's for sure.
The van, this is my story. I was only like, 4 or 5, I guess. Remember, it was before seatbelts. But the engine on the red van used to be right in the middle of the 2 front seats.
They had an engine cover.
Yes.
Yeah, raised
So
engine
that's
cover.
where I used to sit.
Yeah,
That's
on-
not safe.
Oh, what? I was
That's-
holding her. Every
that's
time
not-
I brake, I just put my
That's
arm
not
out.
safe.
Wait,
I
that's
used to
what we
do-
used to do.
A 4-year-old to be on an engine cover.
It was quite.
5.
No, you were older than that.
I
You
don't
were old
know.
enough, Mom let you go.
5. Probably 5.
I don't know. You were irritating your mom at 3. She could have let you go at 3. Take her out of here.
Day she
Anyways,
was
I used to
born.
slide on it all the time because, it was metal. So I would just
Yeah.
slide around on top of it. But
That picture that I sent you last night
Yeah.
of the van, I modified, the little thing. She sent that to me with the stabbing cabin on the side.
joked.
The
I was like-
70s tilted raked van that says stabbing cabin on the side. It's got the striping on the side. She sent me all that and goes, here was my brother's van. I didn't do that. Your sister sent me that. And why? Because she drove around with you. So I'm pretty sure she knows what the outside of your van looked like.
I'm going to have to debate that, Senator. I'm sorry.
It was red.
Look into it.
It was red.
Oh, yeah. It was candy apple red.
See?
What was the interior like? Tell
It
me.
was shag carpeting.
And it was red.
I always thought it was, thought you said it was orange, like a shag orange, or was that your house?
The shag orange carpeting was my bedroom at my house.
Wow.
And my sister had hot pink room.
Hot pink shag carpeting?
And with white in it. And he had a paneled bedroom, paneling.
With brown
with like
shag.
brown shag.
Yeah.
Wow.
But that was before I got kicked upstairs.
I was before my
Do you
time.
know nobody does that anymore? I remember, now that I'm thinking about it, my friends had houses in the 70s. Well, when and people say, what was it like living in the 80s? And they show you a picture of the 80s and there's all these neon colors. And I'm like, no. All of our rooms were from 1975 still.
Yeah.
We did, those are not the rooms we lived in.
Right.
But you're right. Each room had different carpet. Most of them bedrooms had different carpet. If you left all the doors open in a hallway, the hallway was one color and then all the rooms had different color carpet. People don't do that anymore.
Yeah, mine was orange. My room was orange.
Everybody's house now, pretty much everybody's house in the 2000s and on, it's whatever carpet you've got or hardwood. It's what it is in every room.
Yeah.
Right.
Wow. Yeah. People don't get that. Unless you lived it, you don't understand that.
Yeah, my mini blinds in my room were like a yellow and it had a pattern on it. The mini blinds. Why was there a pattern? Who's going to see the pattern? Nobody. Not even when you closed it.
I don't know.
But
People peeking in your window.
Had it. I think when we sold the house, it still had the
the same
yellow
things.
mini blinds,
Yes.
the half-inch wide or
Yeah.
half-inch,
it was. Those are the original ones.
Yeah.
Yes.
Wow.
Yes, and you notice that my brother had the room in the front of the house.
Yeah.
The daughters. Our father would put us in the back of the house with these tiny windows. There was no way we could ever get out of those windows.
And no one's getting in. No one's getting in. No one's getting out.
No, couldn't.
No, what he did is he put a sign outside, take that guy first.
Yeah.
That's why he put me up front. Yeah, he had a big arrow.
He works harder. He can get a lot done. They're useless. Take him.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
I don't know. It was a whole different. I mean, it's a stupid thing to say out loud. It was a whole different era growing up back then. But everyone can say that.
How old were you when you moved out? Do you remember?
I moved out once when I was about 22, 20. Yeah, about 21,
22?
22. Yeah.
I
Went to
didn't know.
live with a couple of buddies.
Okay.
We had a house. The problem was I was the only one working. So when I would go grocery shopping and bring food, I'd come back after working and all of a sudden the refrigerator's empty. I go, what the? Yeah. I'm not supporting you guys.
Wow.
So I did that for about 8 months, lived out, and then didn't move out again until I got married.
Oh, I guess you were around quite a bit.
You always said he wasn't around.
He was gone a lot. He was working.
Well, there's a difference between he wasn't there, like he moved out and he was across town and working. You portray it very differently.
I thought he moved out. I thought you were younger when you moved out.
No, I wasn't that stupid yet.
I like how your sister always, every time she got the chance to say so, it used to irritate your mother to no end. Well, I raised, talking about you, I raised her. I was just like her mother. I raised her, and your mother would get mad and go, you did not raise her. You were the older sister. You did not raise her. And she goes, yes, I did. And that's she always tell. And then
but I don't remember ever being with her. I more remember being with my brother than
the
my sister.
very next family get together, she'd say, well, I raised her. Or the other one that used to get me was I would compliment your mother or your dad. I would say, I'd say, wow, you've really done well with her because she knows her way around Home Depot, and that's pretty impressive for a chick to know where stuff is or what most of the tools do.
Right.
And I would say, and your dad would say, well, she followed me around everywhere. Your sister would come running in. Well, we both did. We both followed him. We both know Home Depot. We both know how sprinklers work. I said, yeah, I didn't ask. I wasn't talking about you. Your husband can sing your praises and I'll take care of my chick. What are you doing? But every chance she got to say how she raised you, or how whatever I would compliment. I wasn't saying it against her. I was complimenting your parents, saying, hey, in fact, I remember one time telling your dad, I said, you could have slowed down a little bit. I go, she needs me for some stuff, but there's nothing she doesn't know already. You want me to fix the roof? Oh, you already know how to do that. Oh, you plumbing? Oh, you got that too. We got to leave some room for the guy to be the guy.
I told you electrical. I don't know much about electrical.
Right. But so the thing was, you tell him that, and he's like, well, she did follow me around. Chirp, chirp, chirp. There comes your sister. Well, I know that stuff too. I was like, oh, fuck, really? Yeah. Every time you can't pay a compliment without her going, me too.
But they told me as I was growing up, at that time, Mom had me when she was older. It must have been about 34 or something when she got pregnant with me. It was in her early 30s. But my mom always said she didn't think she was going to be alive long enough for me to be out on my own.
Yeah.
So she said that they were trying to put as much stuff in me as possible just in case something happened. But
that's what I was doing too.
Yeah, sure you were. She told me you were a babe magnet. She's the first thing she goes, my brother used to take me everywhere. Nothing better than a guy at the beach going, well, I'm just taking care of my little sister here, as good men should. And she says he could be out there surfing or talking to girls. I'm wandering up and down the beach at 5 years old. You didn't know where I am.
Yeah.
But then again, no, there wasn't much to know.
That's correct.
No.
Yeah.
At that point in time, strangers would look out for strangers. If you saw someone say, well, that little girl's walking down here, I think she's part of them, and they keep an eye. That's how people were back then.
But also we were told boundaries. Like he would tell me, you're not going to leave here. We didn't question it. He was my parental unit sort of thing and said, this is where you're going to stay. I didn't drift far from that because we listened.
Yeah, and a good person in charge sets the boundaries, and a good person listens, and it solves a lot of problems.
Yeah.
I don't know if I told you a story. I did that with one of our sons, nicknamed him Bud when he was little. And I was very strict about when I told you to do something, you better goddamn just do it. There wasn't a lot of room for negotiation. The only person who argues is this one. They look at him arguing and go, how is he not dead? Dad would have kicked the shit out of us. You open your mouth with some better idea. Shut the fuck up. When I want your opinion, I'll give it to you. But Bud, we were at Dodger Stadium one time and watching a game, sitting there. I said, look, I'm going to go up and get a hot dog or something, get you something. Don't get out of this chair. I want to wander around Dodger Stadium. He was okay. And then, so I was up there in line, and they got the TVs where you can watch the game while you're standing in line, and a foul ball was hit, and it's going right towards our area. It's going right towards our row. I'm like, holy shit. And it bounced on the floor right next to him, and, boom, took off.
Right.
Like, if he'd have got out of his chair, and he was 10 or 11, 12 years old, he could have caught a fly ball. If he'd have just got out of the chair and put his hand out, he couldn't reach it from the chair. And I came back and I was like, oh, man. He goes, yeah, it bounced right there. I said, why didn't you grab it? He goes, I couldn't reach it. I said, he goes, you told me not to get out of the chair. And he was serious. He's like, I wasn't, as much as I wanted that foul ball from the Dodgers, I was not going to get in trouble by you for getting out of the chair. He told me, he goes, I can just come back and look, I caught the ball. Yeah, but you got out of the chair.
Right.
That would be you.
Yeah. So, not on a foul ball. Yes. I wouldn't have done that.
Yes.
Well, there were no parameters. You didn't say
you can move with a foul ball.
What am I supposed to say? Just in case a foul ball comes?
Yes. Wow.
Okay. Yeah, like you guys would have thought of that. not even
at Dodger Stadium, yes.
Well, I think that was a given, but
he obviously didn't know that.
No, he knew to keep his butt in the seat. He's like, didn't even come off the chair an inch. I'm good. He goes,
Poor
I may not
kid.
have got, he told the fans around, he goes, I may not get the ball, but I'm not in trouble. So it's going to be a fun ride home, not a bad one.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, there's setting boundaries and stuff like that. But my mother complains about now, if you guys look up on a map where Sun Valley is, if you look up Latuna Canyon Road, then imagine Latuna Canyon back in the 50s. Number one, it didn't go all the way through to Pasadena. It was just a dead-end canyon. And there might have been 80 homes back there on acreage. Everybody had horses. Everybody knew everybody back in the 40s and 50s. But my mother will tell stories about my grandmother letting her go at 5 years old with other friends that were like 12 and 13, and she'd be gone all day on horseback at 5, 6, 7 years old. And my mother looks back and condemns my grandmother for doing that. Like, how could you let me go do that at that age? And half of me is like, well, yeah, that's 5 years old and on a horse is probably not because you can go far, you could be miles away. That's probably not good. But the other part of that is that it was a different time.
Sure.
They did leave all in Latuna Canyon and Penrose and Wheatland and on up that way. Yep. They left their keys in their car all night. They never gave it a second thought.
I remember growing up with just the screen door open with a hook latch in summer.
Right.
we didn't close the door or lock it or deadbolt it till I was older. But we just used a hook latch on the screen.
That was what we had too, is that the little hook latch on all the screen. You know what? You don't have a screen door.
On your house now, currently.
And what's your point?
I noticed that last night. I'm like, this dude doesn't have a screen door. Everybody's either got a screen door for a screen door, or you got a security door, like don't come in, but I want my door open. There's nothing.
He doesn't want anybody coming to the door. Ask him.
And,
Why
and
doesn't
his
he have
wife and his wife has never said, "Can we open up the house and let a breeze through? Can we open up the front door?" Oh no, we can't because there's no screen on it. You know what? For Christmas, we need to just send him a screen door. That's
Maybe he doesn't want a screen door. Ask him.
I have a screen door. It just doesn't fit
I was going to say he puts it up only in the spring and summer.
because my son gave it to me. It couldn't fit his door, so he gave it to me. So
And
I
then-
have one.
Well, what's the point of having it if you don't hook up? I mean, does it not fit your door frame?
Very good. That is correct.
Welcome aboard.
Wow, just led me along there. Good for you, buddy. Little buddy there. Way to go, pal. You figured that
How
out
does that
on your own.
feel?
How does what feel?
Being led down a path.
I didn't go very far.
I
I didn't
know,
go
you
to the
didn't.
end of Latuna Canyon.
No, you
Another
did it.
another Bakersfield thing. Well, yeah, no
That's your
screen
home
door.
improvement voice.
The other one was that back in the day, everybody had one car. So you'd drive down the road, and my dad would say you could tell who was home because they only had one car. If the car was gone, they were gone. If the car was there, everybody was there.
True.
Which is, back in the day. But
I wonder
don't
if
know.
people still leave their kids home. Like, I think I was home by myself at like 11 or 12 in the summertime. Like when school was out.
I think back then too. I guess I'm stereotyping, but kids were a little more responsible
Yeah.
at an
Probably.
earlier age.
They were smart.
You know?
They a little
Could
more
you get
aware.
your ass beat if you did
Oh,
something
yeah.
wrong?
Plus,
set
you
the
knew,
house on fire or
but you
something?
also knew stuff back then. I mean, kids. I mean, I'll tell you, at probably 12 or 13, I knew the breaker panels at 13. I knew where to shut off the water. I've been taught, like, hey, if something
Yes.
happens, if there's an earthquake and we're not home, this is what you do.
I was taught that too.
So you knew things about that, but
Also, at that time, my dad came home. It was funny. So he would leave for work in the morning and I'd be home. He would come home mid-morning, check on me, go back to Lockheed, which was what, 6
Yeah, it
miles
wasn't-
away?
yeah, it was
Then
really
he'd come
close.
home for lunch for an hour and then he'd go back to work. And then he got off at like 4 or 4:30 and then he was
Yep.
home. So it wasn't like I was there for a really long time, but I know.
I didn't like being home alone. Even as a
It was
little kid,
boring.
I didn't like it at all.
I wasn't allowed to go swimming because there was nobody
No,
there.
could never go. No, not allowed to go swimming. When grandparents had a pool, would not allowed to go swimming alone. Something happened, you know.
But there were consequences if we didn't abide by those rules, like serious consequences.
I think that's one of the biggest problems is that their kids never really have serious consequences. And they don't by the time they get to be 20. Nothing bad's ever really happened when I didn't do what you wanted and I didn't follow the rules. So okay, you're mad. You'll get over it. But if there's no consequences, they don't care. They don't care about the situation enough to go, let me take this seriously.
Or think about it.
No.
Because there's consequences, good or bad, whichever choice that you choose.
Did you ever tell that story about the nightlight in your bedroom?
No.
What nightlight? What happened?
Where I got burned. What was I, 2? I don't know.
yeah, you were
I was in a
2 or
crib
3,
or
yeah.
something.
And
Well, it was a lamb, right?
Yes,
It was a
that's correct.
lamb that lit up. And did Mom have people over? I don't remember like the whole.
Yeah, I don't know how you got to it. That was the other interesting thing.
I
how
was
you got
able to reach it or something out of the crib and I grabbed it because it looked like a little lamb, I guess, and I put it between my legs. This is how the story goes. And I pulled the cord out from behind it.
It had a little, like a 7-watt bulb inside,
Oh, right,
with the
right.
spring clip that
Sure.
goes up inside. And then she, for whatever reason, took that out, but pulled the lamp or the bulb and the socket, pulled that apart.
at 2 years old.
And there were
2 or
2
3.
wires that were bare, and it landed in her diaper right between her legs, and the diaper was wet.
That's what saved it.
Or made it worse.
But I burned
Yeah, it burned a hole in the, they used to have the plastic
covers.
protection.
I still have it.
Yeah, it
Mom
burned 2
saved
holes.
it.
You still have your plastic covered protected diaper?
Yeah. Mom saved it with the hole in it.
That is an odd trophy to hang on to.
I don't know. But it burned enough that the inside of my legs and my hands were all burned.
Yeah, it arced it. Arced, yeah.
I'm still stuck on why she would save that. Why do you save that?
know.
It's like, oh, look here. Here's a finger paint she
Also,
did
the
when she was
lamb,
2. Look
she
over
left-
here. This is what she did when she was 5. Oh, and I have her burned up diaper from where she burned her leg when she was 2.
Mom said I was wrapped. They wrapped me all bandaged, the legs and the hands. I was bandaged.
Now, see,
I
if your mother was here, I'd go, why would you save that?
Yeah.
What is the point of saving that?
know.
I mean,
It was the time, I guess.
I don't get that. You having a hard time explaining that one to me.
But again, it was still plugged into the wall when she was playing with the bare wires. So I don't know.
Well, that's bad parenting. You don't leave that stuff close enough for a
well.
2-year-old. Of course, unless you were a monkey climbing out of your crib.
I don't know.
Well, you just talked about consequences.
Yeah.
She's never forgotten that. So she doesn't.
That's
mess
true.
with
Doesn't mess
nightlights
with
anymore.
lamps that look like lambs anymore.
No.
Well,
no, not at all.
one of our kids would not stay in the crib. Ever. She'd climb out as soon as you put her in there and go do something. So I took those, like a spider cargo net you put on on the bed of a truck, and I put it on the top of the crib so she couldn't get out. Then people told us, that's cruel and unusual punishment. I go, so you're allowed to have bars around the crib this way, but as soon as I put a bar across the top, now I'm the asshole. Yes, you can't do that. Well, I'm doing it anyway because there's
For safety reasons.
this one time, and I thought I lost her. She was maybe 2, 1.5, and her crib was under a window, a high window that had drapes. And I put her in there without the netting on top. Went to go get her up from a nap, and she was gone.
Uh-oh.
And I'm calling for her. And now I've got the other kids running around the house. She's not there. Now the window's closed. I reached in and grabbed the window to make sure the window wasn't open. She wasn't, 1.5. She couldn't open a window. Like, okay, she didn't go out the window. And we searched the entire house. We searched the garage, started to go outside, started looking in the backyard, the front yard. And everyone's calling her name and nothing. This goes on for about 20 minutes. Which doesn't sound like much, but when you've lost your kid, that's an eternity.
Absolutely.
And I was in the hallway, and I was going, okay, I got to call the cops. I got to call the police and go, I don't know what happened here. And right as I'm standing in the hallway, I heard her giggle. And she had climbed up. She was so little. She had climbed up to the window above her crib and was standing in the windowsill behind the drapes. So I reached on this side and grabbed the window, but I never thought to think somebody was standing there inside. It's not like there was sunlight outside where you could see the shadow. It wasn't like that. So she made us all run around calling her for about 20 minutes till I found her. And, the first thing, you're like, oh, my God, you're safe. And then you motherfucker, you don't. When I call you, you answer. And, 2 years old, dragging her down the hallway by the arm, mad as can be. But, yeah, that's so similar to you, just stupid shit you do.
Oh, pretty much. Good times.
Yeah, not like you'd think. So.
Yeah, that's
Oh my
for
God.
sure.
I thought you were interviewing him.
No.
Oh, do you not like the format of today's program?
Oh, I'm fine.
We
sure?
can change it. We can change it all up if you want to.
Okay,
No.
go.
I was going to ask you both since
I have to
you.
go to work.
Yeah,
I start today.
St. Donna's got your honey-do list over there, and it's growing longer by the minute. Every story that she doesn't like from you, you're doing more stuff. She got things she's writing
There's going to be
down.
check marks all over the
There
place
will
on
be.
that one. Yeah.
You're going to ask, which one do I do first to get in trouble? She's going to go, you figure it out. Yeah. You better get it in the right order, too.
I may be living in Dayton.
On the
I
dirt.
got some property you can buy.
I'm only going to need a small section, okay?
So we all went to Las Vegas for the GenX Talks thing every year. It's 4th year we've done it, I think. And I think one of the biggest, the most fun aspects is getting to meet different people. Yes, I enjoy seeing the same cast of characters that dedicate to show. I like that. You get to see the staff that we don't normally get to see, but once a year they come in from all over the country. I dig that. And I really dig it when people at the barbecue during the summer or at this, they'll take their vacation time. They'll save up money to go do this. And it's hugely important to me. I value that very much. And along with that is when you get to meet somebody new.
From all over the country.
From all over.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely.
you were saying that you were, I know you were trying to politely list everybody because you don't want to leave anybody out, but You got to spend a little time with Danny H. and his wife Sahara. You got to know them a little bit.
That's correct. I think actually St. Donna got to know Sahara more than I did.
She was playing hostess.
Yes, she
St. Donna was.
Yeah, she did a great job.
But
of
I
that,
wish
too.
I could have spent more time with Danny H. So,
That's the way we all feel about Pete. He's like, God, I just would have spent a little more time.
right.
With everyone.
Yeah, with each person in there.
Well, I think I told you too that he is the kind of individual. Puberty there. Anyway, he's the kind of guy that as soon as I met him, I thought I had known him for years. You know, it just kind of that's the vibe I got from him, and you know. Leaving, it's like, geez, I'm leaving a best friend already.
That's
you know,
cool.
when am I going to see him again?
See him again, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So,
Well,
that, you know, it's people like that.
Jules, who do you think? Who sticks out that you got a chance to talk to? Is there old person or old friend or new friend?
Love seeing Sandy again because there was this iffy thing that she was going to be there, not be there, but she was from last year and she was so excited to attend again because she had so much fun last year, and she did. She's had the same wonderful vibes. She was able to attend.
I had to distance myself from Sandy.
Why? What was wrong with Sandy?
Changed her hair color this year.
Oh yeah, she did.
Didn't like it. Didn't get prior approval from me on the hair changing. Showed up, totally different person. I cried when no one was looking.
You did, huh?
Cut me deeply. Cut me deeply. And I had to just, every time I saw her, I had to shake my head and turn away. Anyway, go on. Who else?
Danny H's Sahara was fun. I mean, his personality comes out, both of them in chat, but to put a face to the chat is hilarious right away. Great time seeing Ben and Christine again. They fit right into the GenX Talks family.
Do you know when I told her to go, I said, go sell stuff. And I said, go over there with your boobs and sell stuff. She walked around with the plaque going, here, scan this and buy something. Scan this and buy something. Scan this and buy something. It's like, wow, well, that's where you had to go, going above and beyond.
I
like
enjoyed
that.
meeting Dr. Shadowlight, actually putting a face to the name because I've spoken to him by email and by chat. So that was kind of cool to meet him. I think everybody made an impression that I can go, oh yeah, I met that person, or it was great.
A face to the name. Or
we definitely.
Kel Riken, who did the gold coin, and his wife were there for that night. They drove an hour to
they were
see
from
us.
Pahrump.
Yeah, Pahrump.
Pahrump.
Yeah.
When you live in Vegas, Pahrump is where legal prostitution is closest. It's not allowed. You're not allowed in Clark County.
You know what? That's kind of scary because that is a huge retirement community, and I don't want to think about prostitution there.
I drove through there.
Anything
once.
over 70 has a job.
The other one we met was Calvin. He was very quiet. He was at the go-karts, and then he showed up that night. He's very quiet, but knows a lot of Gen X lore.
I would have very much liked to seen you in the go-kart competition. That would have been fun to watch you riding around with everybody,
except
racing
getting
around.
crashed.
Yeah, I was
because
going to say, after
serious.
seeing
Josh.
Did I say I wanted to see him in a serious injury? I didn't say I'd like to see you get
very
messed up in the
competitive.
crashes.
Well, because of the tone of your voice on
is
that
that
one,
it?
is
Yeah.
like, I would have never wanted to. Yes.
It's very
watch my
competitive. Very competitive.
Yeah, I noticed. And poor Josh, he was complaining about his chest hurting. And I go, oh, man.
I was funny. I was filming.
Yeah.
I was filming the groups going around, and I just started to pan over to the middle because you can catch a lot of view there. Right as I got to it, I heard the crash.
Yeah.
And my phone camera just panned over as his go-kart was settling back down on the ground. It went boom up in the air and came down, and I caught it just as it landed back. He got it. I'm not sure how he got hit or where he got hit, but yeah.
So the turn, right? For a guy in front of him, the same thing happened to me later. Literally the same spots and everything. He spun out perpendicular to the wall, and Josh was trying to take the inside lane, so he
had to hit him.
So he just T-boned the guy in front of him.
Yeah. He got hit. So Josh got hit so hard that his GoPro came off his helmet.
Yeah, they had a GoPro strapped to his helmet.
GoPro went across.
Yes.
The guy had to go find it and pick it up off
That's
the
how
track.
hard he got hit.
Whoa.
Yeah, it was pretty
Well,
bad.
technically, if we say it that way, that's how hard he got hit. That sounds terrible. Truth is, he hit somebody. The truth is, he T-boned the guy. We should be saying it. Josh hit a guy so hard that he lost his GoPro.
I know.
Whatever. One thing is like everybody was worried about like Josh and worried about when I crash, everybody's worried about me. I'm worried about Dr. Shadowlight when I hit him because I hit him the same way. My go-kart went up onto his.
Yes.
And I hit him, like him with my go-kart.
Yeah, he
Oh,
did.
my
When I took a
goodness.
picture of him, his go-kart was up on top of his.
How fast do you think those go-karts go? Like when
It doesn't seem like very fast, but when you're in them and you're this high off the ground, you know, they're probably going, I don't know, 35 maybe.
It's still pretty good.
You know.
That's cooking.
Yeah, when you're going like this, you feel like you're going so fast, and then you look at the camera footage, and since it's fisheye too.
Yeah, and you're going really slow, right? It's like, oh, that felt a lot faster. You know.
The other person that showed up was Shasta Williams. She showed up. That was really neat to see her because I've seen, actually, to be honest, I thought it was a man. Shasta Williams was a man. But when she walked up and introduced herself, I was like, oh my gosh. And that was her name. Like, I really thought it was like a code.
I thought she was going to say, you know, Shasta Williams walked up to me. I thought it was a man. But
No.
I'm shaking my head going, really? He's going to tell people that?
No, but in the chat. And then I really thought it was like a code name, Shasta Williams. But no, that was her real name, was Shasta Williams.
Yeah, and then I also met Shiloh and Sean.
Oh, yes.
That was her
Those
husband.
two were great.
Yeah,
Shiloh
they
and Sean
too.
were
Yeah,
great.
absolutely.
There was a bunch. It turned out to be a good group of people having a good time.
Cali Cat and Disney Kid, we've spoke to them, Disney Kids on staff, but actually seeing them in
okay, so
person.
I'll tell you a Disney Kid story from that. There's a word in the human language called giddy, and a picture of a 3-year-old opening up a present, and they're just giddy. They can hardly contain themselves, and little kids are that way. As you get older, you can control that, even though you have this total exuberance for what you're doing. You don't run up and shake, and so he gets a picture of him between boobs. And he comes and shows me, and he's literally look the picture I got. I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about? Give me your camera. And I'm like, whoa, yeah, you guys helped. Yeah, I did. I mean, that was a dude who for about 90 seconds lost all composure. And I said, you better send that picture to email it to people and send it places, because if it actually gets deleted on your phone, you're going to shoot yourself for not having
That's
it.
right.
He backed up 6 feet and was.
So he listened.
That second. Yeah, he copied and pasted that thing 12 different ways from Sunday so he wouldn't lose it.
Oh my
Wow.
gosh.
Jeez.
That's funny.
There's a giddy moment for Chris. I like Chris, Disney Kid doing his thing there. So what else was there? I was going to ask you guys something else. I really didn't ask you your best moments there.
Well, I think the other thing too that I got a kick out of was all the bowling lanes were full.
Yes.
And every time I was kind of watching, I'd see Gen Z kid running across over to this lane, and then boom, he'd throw a strike, and then all of a sudden halfway, boom, he'd throw another one, and then all I saw was him running back
I
and
did
forth.
too.
There's a couple things about that. He started that on his own. That's nothing that I said, could you please go out and bowl with everybody? He started that 4 years ago.
Yeah, he did.
Every time that people are bowling, he just goes, can I throw?
Yeah, add me to it.
I put my name on there.
Yeah, put my name on there.
This year was the first time all the lanes were full all the time. Usually
yeah.
about half were.
Yeah,
But yeah, there
it
was
was
people
great.
bowling every lane the whole time. And so now his little tradition, he's not throwing 5 or 6 balls every round. He's throwing 10
Yes.
every time. I mean, and as he's jumping around, 1, 8, 4, 3, 6, 5, 7, do 9, 10, and then by the end of it, he goes, I can't feel my arm.
This was the first year that I throw one on one lane, and even if I didn't get a strike, I'd go over a different one, throw it, come back for the pins to reset.
I wish I videotaped that. That was
That-
funny.
me
Every
too.
time I looked up, there he goes.
And they did get videotaped.
Yeah, we could slice that portion of. We had one camera going over the whole event.
Oh, okay.
The whole time, so it just you can
You
pick
see
and
him running
choose.
from lane to
but
lane
you
to
could
lane.
speed up the footage on that.
Yes. Yeah, put some sounds.
That
to
was
it
a
or
compliment everybody gave, was that Briggs interacted quite a bit, which
Yeah.
is good.
Yeah, it did. Especially with the bowling ball.
I just like bowling.
I think the most touching one was Shannon Brigode's husband, Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had.
This was like, he came to the barbecue, but this was like, even more, it was bigger and meant more. And he brought some friends with him to go, look what Shannon was involved with.
Right.
So that was really touching and moving, and it brought tears to my eyes as well as other people. Like
St. Donna was that way too.
it was because I think we were all shocked by how Shannon was there, and then the next minute she's gone. You know?
Yeah, and then he quietly plugs in like,
Yeah.
well, what is this all about? What was she so interested in? And then he finds out, and then he sticks around, and then he becomes more part of it. Now he's kind of a fixture where people ask me if we're doing something. Hey, is Chris showing up? Christopher's going to be there, and I'm like, well, I don't know, because it's far.
Yeah, and I think it moved him that so many people went up to him and gave him a hug and
Absolutely.
made a comment about how Shannon and that person spoke and how much she shared with everybody. I think he got more moved with that than anything. That, oh my gosh, she talked to you, and she talked to you, and she talked to you, and was...
It was a definite thing for him to understand the connection.
Yeah.
Absolutely it was. So I think it was, as much as it was for us to have him there, I think it did him the same amount of good.
I think it healed
And I think
him.
other people might feel that same way too. That when they showed up, I think it did them a lot of good to be there. It felt good. You go home. They left and went home and felt good that they showed up.
Right,
Yeah.
Which is a big plus.
Well, I think also it's hats off to the GenX Talks family that they were able to do some part of healing for him, and
Yeah.
I respect you guys even more for stuff like that.
Thank you.
So
Well, we may just create the platform to have it done, but it's the people that make that happen, and I like it a lot. I wouldn't.
But you have to have those people with the same mentality
Sure,
Right.
yeah,
to
you-
keep it this way too.
I would agree with
And
that.
the support. So
sure.
it's big. It's big.
So here we are in Minden,
Nevada.
Nevada.
We're not in Vegas.
No, we're not, and we're not even in Reno. We're
we're
in
not.
Minden, and trying to get stuff done up here. We left Vegas, drove up here. We're trying to get stuff done. You got to
Oh,
switch some
no.
things around.
Here we go.
I wasn't going to tell them you fucked everything up.
Okay, good. So don't.
So now we'll move on.
Yes, that was it.
Well, since she brought it up, we're driving 2 hours out because we're not in the same county. We're in Lyon County where we're at. So, of course, our center of the universe is 200 further miles out in the middle of Nevada. And we drive out there. I'll give you the short story on this. We needed to change
There's
over.
no short story.
No, there isn't.
I learned that a long time ago.
Yeah, I know.
Well, imagine what the long story would be. That's right.
We'd have to get dinner catered.
I know. Let's have the clip
Want
cliff note
to
version.
order dinner
please.
now?
Oh my gosh. Can I
so-
go to the bathroom first?
No, just sit there and shut up.
Wow.
Good Lord, woman. So we're going to drive out there, and the whole week before Vegas, I'm like, okay, so we got to get the GenX Talks as the business part of it transferred to Nevada, get all your shit together so we can go do all this. And she said, well, I got to do this, and I got to go here, and I got to go to the county and get the new business name and the how we register it. And I said, okay, so I don't give it much thought, and I do say, well, while we're out there, because 2 hours away, I do have some stuff I can ask about the property. While we're there,
That's not how I remember it.
I don't care. That's exactly how
That's
this
not
went.
how I remember it.
Doesn't matter. This is how it went. So
No, it didn't.
we literally pull up in the street out there. We're getting out of the truck, and she goes, "So, I'll just follow you around, and you can ask the questions." And I'm like, "No, just go ahead and get your stuff done. Get you're out here with get your folder of stuff. I got some stuff I could. Well, I don't know if I'm really comfortable with asking." I went, all of a sudden it clicked as I'm standing there in the street. I'm like, you don't have a fucking clue what you're doing out here. You didn't bring anything. You have no idea where to start. You don't even know if the office you need to go to is right here.
First of all, that's a lie. I have everything in my football bag.
And her answer was, when I called her out, we're in the street, and I'm going, we're not even in the building yet. The way when your wife is telling you something, you're like, okay, now I'm catching on. And I caught on, and I accused her. You're not even ready. She goes, there was a lot going on for Vegas. There was so much prep that there was a lot going on. I'm like, oh my Christ almighty. And then I knew it was a wasted 2-hour trip because I didn't need to go out there. I could have called my questions in, but I thought as long as we're here for all the stuff she's doing.
Hold on.
Yeah.
But didn't you get a lot of really good information when you went there?
2 things. Yeah.
So it was worth it.
So you're trying to say
So it was worth the trip.
your fuck up turns into something good?
Come on, admit it.
It meant what?
That it went and you got a lot of information.
I was going to get the information. Yeah, I already knew that.
But you got 2 things of information you would not have got on the phone.
No, I could have got that on the phone just
No.
as easily. The only thing else I got was a wink and a nod about something that I probably wouldn't have got on the phone.
There you go. See?
But other than that, this was a wasted 2-hour trip to go out there completely.
I wish you guys could see my brother. He's like tennis. He's at a tennis
He's a
match.
tennis ball.
Boom.
Look like this. You're looking at me,
Looking
looking at her, looking at me. You should have just kept it on him the whole time and watched him do this.
There are multiple times.
He's looking like, can I be
Is
excused
that why
right
you
now?
put me here?
Yeah. This is that's
All right, Senator, please, let's
he's the
hold the
mediator.
questions, please.
Yeah, so on the way back, I'm going, I can't believe we're even in this fucking position. I was so mad. And then she's looking up things on the website, trying to figure stuff out. I go, make a fucking phone call. Just pick up the phone and call. We pulled over on the side of the
But
road.
then it wasn't as simple as you thought, was it? Once we started making phone calls,
I never knew how simple it was. We just, as we made phone calls, we learned how unraveling fucked up this whole thing was because you did zero prep work. That's what we learned.
Okay.
But within one 20-minute call, 10-minute drive, and 10 minutes in the building, we got the basics started. We're on the right path.
There you go.
But guess what? We didn't need to drive 2 hours out in the middle of the desert to do that,
It was
did
a
we?
really nice drive.
It was not a nice drive.
It was a nice.
Likes exploring. You're being very negative about this.
Yes, exactly.
I'm
He
trying to
liked
get a
it.
job done. We're focused on
enjoyed
getting
it.
something done. That's why following your brother from Vegas to Reno would not have worked. I'll tell you when I knew this. He goes, well, yeah, we'll leave at a certain time, but I make it all the way to Tonopah where I get gas. And 5 miles past Tonopah, there's a dog park. I let my dog out to go. I mean, at that minute, I knew this motherfucker got a schedule down to the minute.
Yes, he does.
So all of the stops we make, he'd have been like pointing at his watch going, what are we fucking doing here?
I need to be in
Why are we
Tonopah
here?
at.
You know, we are behind schedule the whole way. Tell me I'm wrong.
How did I get dragged into this conversation? Was that number 3 on the list?
Well,
or
see,
what?
that's how it
I'm
went
confused.
First, we start off the program by your asshole dad to asshole brother-in-law.
Mister.
Mister. Do apologize.
Okay, all right.
And then your wife.
And then I went from jerk face monkey butt wife to jerk face monkey butt
Wow.
Sun Valley Fox and how
Mister.
he drives. Mister. So I correlate when there's,
respect?
but I'm keeping it all in the family. You guys all got problems.
You knew what you were getting. You knew what you were getting to when you asked me to marry you.
Yeah, I really didn't. Not even close.
Yeah, I heard the story on that one. Thanks, Briggs. I appreciate
Yeah,
it.
you
I
asked
learned
me.
about
You
it.
asked me to get married.
Yeah.
Well, not sort of.
How could that have been the best part of a 2-hour podcast?
It's not you. You rejected my mom.
Well, I wasn't. It wasn't like I was trying to.
You were like, wait. Is there anybody?
Yes,
That is,
exactly.
okay, that is not what I was
Exactly.
doing.
Is she the best one of the group?
I was not.
Sending out feelers was crazy too.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Nowadays on the internet, that would have been.
So you know how I felt my whole life. That's how it was.
Yeah.
But my list was pages.
Yeah, that's. I don't even know. I couldn't keep up with that.
My brother had a little black book. Back in
No,
the day.
it was bigger than a book.
Oh, a phone book.
He had a Rolodex. That's what they used back then.
We need people to come to the beach today.
Hang on, I guess I'm here.
I just honked the horn of the car.
Yes.
All of a sudden you hear,
Like, if you hear me honk outside your house, you got 3 minutes to get your shit together and get in the van, or you're getting.
Exactly.
I will move down 6 blocks or 6 houses down to what's her name's house. and
That's right.
Oh
honk in
my
front of her house.
gosh.
There's
Yeah,
girls.
yeah.
There's girls just waiting with their stuff with the door open, and he's honking down the street. Don't come out! Don't come out! Don't come out! He'll be at me next. If she doesn't come out of her house, I'm next. That's a way to live. Let me tell you.
well, that's why I had to get a van because all their stuff had to be in the van. So I could just go by and pick them up. Yeah, I didn't have to spend time.
Throw your shit in the back and let's go.
Yeah, that's it.
I have questions to ask.
Who?
Where did
Who
you?
you at?
Where did you?
What?
I'm going back to your youth. Your
Ooh,
youth.
Your youth.
That's a long time ago.
The youth.
Yeah.
The
Where
two
did you
youths.
used to go surfing back in the day? What were some of your favorite spots?
Well, San Onofre, where the power station is. That's Pacific Ocean. Down near San Clemente for
Yeah,
people
where the two
that
boobs are.
California. What?
They called them the two boobs.
Oh, we never called that. Those boobs I didn't care about. Okay?
Yeah, they're
So,
just two
yeah,
concrete mounds.
yeah.
Yes.
I didn't have my picture taken with them.
No, but Disney
there's
could.
no evidence.
Disney kid could have.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
San Onofre?
Yeah, San Onofre, and then the other one was Silver Strand Beach. I think we had that down towards Coronado. Coronado Island, down towards San Diego.
You went pretty far then.
Yeah, well, you'd go to Huntington too, but if Ventura, we'd go there body surfing, Zuma Beach. If it was cloudy, we'd just drive down to Huntington because the fog would go in and out, so we'd go where the sun was too. So it was good times.
What about?
It wasn't crowded.
What about snow skiing? Did you snow ski?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I did that a lot. I would work all week and then Saturday morning get up early and go to I think it was Snow Valley, Snow Summit up at Big Bear.
Big Bear,
from Sun Valley. Just go up there and ski all day.
Well, what was drivable from where we live was Big Bear, Wrightwood, Mammoth. Those are places you could get to in a day and still go skiing.
Correct.
Or go to the beach. You can go to both in the same day if you wanted to in Southern California.
Yeah, it wasn't crowded back then too. And I think one of the first times we learned was it was through the Forest Service, and I forgot the name of it. But it was a rope tow. People probably don't know what a rope tow is, but it's a pulley system with a rope on it. So when you want to go up a hill, you grab the rope.
Yeah.
But you had to learn how to grab the rope. You don't just grab the rope because it'll yank you right out of your skis. So you got to kind of let it slide and then, get yourself momentum going and then
grab on.
But
you had to have your skis go in the right direction.
Pardon?
You had to have your skis go in the right direction, right?
Knock you over.
That's a good
You got to have
point.
your skis pointed the direction of the rope.
That's right.
See, she's not so dumb. I told you.
I've never snow skied.
Really?
No, never went. Never went.
But I went through a lot of gloves because, sliding through there, I mean, they get frayed real. We just get duct tape and just keep taping. But anyway, the Forest Service back then said, oh, yeah, we get there before he would, before he fired it up. And he said, well, go up there, try it. If you like it, pay $5 and you can ski all day.
That's the way camping used to be too.
my
They used to
goodness,
when
really?
you get a camping slot up in the we used to go up into Tehachapi or something, go camping. There was just like a ranger station, a little booth, and there was nobody ever there. And you'd fill out a form and put your $3 in, and it was on the honor system that you just put your now some guy would go up there and take all the envelopes out and take the money.
Yeah.
That's the world we live in now. But back then you'd pay your $3
Right.
and you felt bad if you didn't do it. Of course you'd do it.
Right.
Nowadays kids are like, oh, you see what I got away with? I didn't pay that $3. I got there for free. It's like, oh, great accomplishment, asshole. You're not part of the civilized world. You're just a dick. But back then we paid, you was on the honor system.
Yep.
So
with that story, we used to go up to the Kern River up in your area where you used to hang around. We go up there, and one of the guys that we used to hang around with knew one of the rangers that was in the campground. So we pay our fee to camp right there. But then he'd come up and come visit, and in the back of his truck, he'd have a case of beer.
Oh, nice.
He'd just stop in, and we'd all have beers and fish and all that stuff.
I've got I got several Kernville stories, but about the river, because we used to raft that river, and that was every summer we'd ride out there and go do that. And one year, when you get to where you land, where you beach, there's all the rafts. Everybody stops in the same spots. There's like 10 or 12 of them in a row at this one spot, and they're really hard to turn over and get the water out. Because they're so big and heavy, it takes 3 or 4 guys. We're in high school. There's 3 or 4 of us turning this thing over, and we're trying to get it turned over. And this guy at the very end grabs one, like 2 arms, and shakes it and throws it down. Being helpful. Grabs the next one. Doesn't matter whose it was. The next one. He gets to ours, and we just dropped. And the guy, this is what he said: "Move out of the way." And he picks the thing up and shakes. I'm like, holy shit, that was Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Was it really him?
It was really him, yeah. Back in the 80s, he had gone up there with his buddies or some production thing or something, and he just told them, I'll dump it for you, because we're all trying to get back. You put him back on the van or the truck and drive back up and do it again. And so it was just always a pain in the ass to shake him out. And he just, move out of the way. I got this for you. And like, hey, holy shit, look at it is.
He didn't say, get to the chop.
Get to the chop. Get to the raft.
Okay, I got another question for my brother.
What?
So whose
You're
idea?
only allowed 2.
I know. Whose idea was it to buy the canoe?
We're talking about a family canoe, I'm
Yes.
sure.
Yeah, exactly.
Because the only time I used the canoe was in the pool. I never went out in it,
I think it was Dad. I think he wanted
a canoe?
Yeah.
So where did you guys take the canoe?
I'm thinking it was not river canoeing. I'm thinking it was probably going to be lake canoeing for fishing.
No, there's
No.
a river story. for that.
Yeah, that's what I want to know.
That cannot be true.
It's true.
Here it
It's
is.
true.
That's what I want to
So
hear.
Dad and I went to Havasu, Lake Havasu.
Yeah.
Which is in Arizona, and we wanted to go on the Colorado River. Okay, so we went in July. Do I need to go any more? Temperature was
It's
like
hot.
115, and at
Yeah.
night it was 100, so it cooled down.
Oh, good.
Yeah, nice.
So there's several stories involved in this, but one of the ones was, oh, well, we're going to canoe the river. Okay, so we go out, we put the canoe on the shore, get in,
Yeah.
we paddle out, and we start paddling.
Yeah.
Hey,
paddling.
either of you have experience in canoeing?
As soon as we got in, we had
Okay,
experience.
that's what I want to know. Okay.
So we're paddling, and I go, Dad, do you see what I see? You see the shoreline over there? How far have we moved? We probably paddled, I don't know, 5-10 minutes. We hadn't moved an inch because the river was going so fast
Well, why were you paddling upstream?
because we were stupid.
Oh.
Number one. Number two, we didn't have anybody who's going to pick us up because it was just him and I.
Yeah, you'd have to float back down the river to where the
Oh,
car
or you
was.
could paddle up the river, right?
Yeah.
That didn't work. No, it didn't
Or
work.
two guys on the side of the road hiking a canoe back up to their truck.
So we got back on the shoreline, and before we went canoeing, we bought a 6-pack of tall Coors. And this was 9 o'clock in the morning, and it still was hotter than hell. So we drank that Coors for breakfast because it was so hot.
Well, you had to hydrate.
That's what we did. And it didn't affect you because you just sweat it
Well,
out.
Coors Light's mostly water anyway.
That's true. That's
Come on.
true.
Oh my God.
It's almost nutritional.
But a side story, when I got up that morning, we slept in the back of the truck, that Chevy truck, and we put the canoe over the top. Well, when I got up, my eye was completely shut.
What?
And I woke up, and Dad looks at me and goes, did you get in a fight last night or something like that? What the heck happened? I was allergic to mosquitoes. So a mosquito bit me in the eye and completely closed my eyes.
Oh,
so,
my
but
gosh.
that was funny too. So
Nice
funny,
trip.
ha ha.
That was a great trip.
There you go. That's
Yeah.
the canoe.
I have other thing I want to talk to you about. What about you guys used to go up for opening day at Convict, right?
Yes.
Like
Uh-huh.
open fishing, opening day, they used to go.
Lake Convict.
Lake Convict.
Yeah.
They used to go. That was an annual thing that you guys used to do.
Correct.
How often did you go every year?
Yes, until it got really, really crowded, and then it wasn't fun anymore.
Really?
You know, yeah, you could go pull up into the parking lot there and camp and go and fish. And then after a while, it got to a point where there were cars from the parking lot almost all the way down to 395. Just
Wow.
cars bumper to bumper.
When you used to go down to the beach, I couldn't. By the time I was driving going to the beaches, we could still go out on the beach and build a bonfire. We could do that. We could sleep out on the beach all night if you wanted to. Build a fire and keep going. In fact, we used to find old VW engines, the old 1200s that were made out of magnesium.
Okay.
And if you can get them hot enough and get them burning, you could like put a big stick through it and carry it out to the water, and it would still burn underwater like a purple and blue. You had to get them hot and you had to get all the oil off of them stuff.
Right.
But we could build fires and stay out all night, but we never could drive on it. And my mom and dad said they used to be able to drive on the beaches. You could pull your truck right up. You could drive right down the water. And, you've seen pictures in the 50s of all these cars backing up, because the water's getting close. They'd line them up on the beach. We couldn't do that in the 80s. What about was like in the 70s? Could you drive on them?
Well, the only one that I remember was Pismo Beach.
Yeah.
They had like an entrance that you could just go drive on the beach wherever you wanted to.
I think they have that a little bit because of the sand dune
The
stuff.
dunes, you could still
You can go to
kinda
the
do it.
dunes, but
Oh, is that right?
that's a designated driving area.
Right.
But this was, you could go to Carpinteria and drive right on the beach. Go to Zuma. My parents have pictures. They would drive right, because Zuma from the parking lot to the water is a long hike on that hot sand.
Yes.
It's 100 yards or so. They'd drive right out there and turn their cars around, tailgate, station wagon, turn on the music, right out as close to the water as you wanted. We could not do that in my generation. By the 80s, that was gone.
I don't remember doing that.
No, I don't remember going. I know it was close.
Yeah.
But as far as
It must have,
driving,
by the 70s, it must have been closed out in the 60s sometime. They must have decided not to do that. But that was something that used to be.
Did you have to pay to go to the beach when you went? Did you ever have to pay?
Yeah, I think it was like 50 cents or something like that. It was pretty cheap. Unless you got there early, and there was nobody at the attendant window. You drive through
it.
Yeah, they didn't have a gate per se.
Interesting.
Right.
So
I remember having to pay to park, or you had to park on Pacific Coast Highway and then,
and walk
then
down.
walk it in.
But there was some spots on PCH, if you knew where to stop, there was easy trails right down through that. What was that? Icicle
it was like
ivy?
ice plant.
Ice plant or
yeah.
ice
And
ivy?
people had walked so much that
There was these really cool trails. You
Yeah.
could park right on PCH. There's two good things. One, if you knew where to park in the trail was, you walk right down. You're at the beach where you
Right.
wanted to be anyway, and you could see your car.
right.
That's
You-
right.
You couldn't see it through at a parking lot to where you were, but if you was up there, you could see right what was going on with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I kind of got in trouble because Donna and I were dating at the time, and we stopped, and sun was going down. Well, she had to be at work by, I don't know, 1 or 2 o'clock. And I said, well, just call in, okay? Call in sick, and we'll watch the sun go down, as we're dating. And she goes, I don't know. And all of a sudden I
can't call out sick.
came up to a pay booth, if everybody remembers what
pay
those
phone.
were back then. And I go, well, there's a phone. Just call and tell them you're going to be sick today. So she goes in and she's making a call. And again, we're on PCH, right?
Right.
I'm going to be sick today.
And in the background are semis going.
Exactly. Okay, bye. So that was kind of a funny story.
Did she did call out sick?
Yeah, she did.
Oh,
Now,
God.
let me explain this to you. This is the difference between the older, cooler generation and the younger, uncool generation. And I've been trying to explain this to you for our whole marriage, and you just blow me off.
Okay.
You call in sick. You call in sick. You don't call out sick. How do you call out someone? You have to call into the place of business.
Oh my gosh.
We've been fighting about this for years. You call into your
words.
place of business and say, I won't be there, I'm sick. And she said, no, you're calling that you're going to be out. I go, but you're calling in to tell them
Oh,
you're
my
going to be
goodness.
out. So you don't call. Who says call out sick? You call in. I got to call into my place of business. I'm sick. I'm going to call into them and let them know I'm sick. You don't call out. You can't call out unless you're inside the prison and you're trying to call outside the prison. That's calling out.
Okay.
But he used it live, so don't tell me that's.
I think it's one of those things where it doesn't really matter.
It matters.
Because everybody knows what you're saying when you say that. It's like caramel. No one cares. It's not that serious. Like, you know what they're saying, and that's all that matters. You know what I mean?
Say those two again.
Caramel.
Okay, caramel is a little cube you like is candy, and caramel's the flavor you put in something. Okay, got it?
Oh, you know what I'm talking about when I say that.
No, you don't. I had to tell you there's two different things. I'm just telling you, old school, young school, just let's say it's a difference. You know what?
I'm only 6 months younger than
You want to be part of that generation, you go right ahead.
Okay.
You're with them. But I'm telling you, the cool kids that you call in. I never heard anybody say call out until you started doing
hey.
it.
Well, the thing is, and in her defense, that's what the new generation is now. Because when I was working, that's what they said. It's a call-out line. So when you call out that you're sick.
Call out for the day.
Yeah,
Whatever.
Calling out of the day.
That's the way HR.
Oh, yeah.
Says
Well, I'm
it.
sorry. I didn't grow up in the land of HR. My HR was HR puffing stuff.
Same here.
That was my generation. I don't even know what HR. You got
Okay.
to go see HR. I said, no, I don't like that. I like. Can I watch Land of the Lost? I'm not a big HR
Oh my
puffing
gosh.
stuff guy. So
Wow.
now you know what I know.
You know where that was filmed? HR Puffin stuff.
No.
Do you remember?
Right on the corner by our house.
No, it wasn't.
Sherman
Way
Way
and
and Vineland.
Yep, that's where
I
the studio
remember.
was.
Yes.
No.
Right across from the dairy.
Yep.
Are you
where I
kidding
worked.
me?
Or yeah, where he worked.
Yeah.
He worked at that dairy.
Wait,
Yeah, it
what?
was H&O. It had it was on the on
That's
the
Sid
right.
Marty,
building.
was it Sid and Marty Croft?
Yep.
All their
Yeah.
stuff was filmed there?
Yeah.
Yep. Sid and
I
Marty
did
Croft.
not know that.
Ah, you learned something.
And she goes, no, I don't. Wait a minute, right
did.
by our house.
That's right.
You've never divulged that information.
I didn't. I just remembered.
Yep.
I just remembered about it when he said that.
Yep. I
I can
remember that.
picture the dairy because when he worked, it was a drive-through dairy.
Right.
Yeah.
And I remember being in the car and Mom would drive in and he would come out and she would get milk and butter and she would just get her little basics. I
Well,
do
we had
remember.
cows there for a while.
It was
'Cause,
right by the runway.
Well, now there's, it was a Costco. I don't know if it's still there.
I don't know what
in
it
the
is
corner.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the
did you-
coolest part of the story is that it was Sid and Marty Croft. I think we're getting away from the cool feature here. I don't care where
Right
he
on
worked.
the corner, right across the street.
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, that's where they.
That's just like when you drive down and you remember in Burbank and you were a kid and you drive by the Hanna-Barbera building and it was all decked out with all the characters from Hanna-Barbera on the outside of the building. I thought that was a cool thing too.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
But like Mary said, we got used to it. It wasn't hey,
Yeah.
let's go get a picture taken or.
Well,
No,
that's
It was
just
just
like
part of the neighborhood.
how many times before, I don't know if they still do it, but how many times did we all go down to the Hollywood Christmas parade? You know,
Every year.
Every year. So you just jump. It's like a 10-minute drive, 15 minutes. You're over at the Hollywood Christmas parade. And how many celebrities would you see there?
A
I mean,
ton.
just
Yeah.
ton. Not only in the parade, but they all come to watch with their coats and wave and say hi. You know, and you thought it was normal. You didn't think it was
So
anything
that Chevy
special.
truck that we were talking about, that old one, all the neighborhood kids used to hop in the back of that. No seatbelts, no nothing. We would go down in November in the back of that truck to the Hollywood Christmas parade. We would decide that day.
Yeah.
Like, hey, anybody want to go? And our dad would drive us right down there and we would
That's
park
just
and-
like growing up in the San Fernando Valley. We'd get in the car one night and we'd go to where the rich people lived and we'd look at Christmas lights. Because the rich neighborhoods had some really nice decorations
That's
in them.
right.
Yep.
We had to drive a little ways to get there, but it was still good.
Yeah. Well, you had what? Candy Lane.
Candy Cane Lane.
Candy Cane Lane that
Yep.
they did every year. And then there was, as we had kids, there was one in Woodland Hills, I believe,
yeah.
right next to Pierce College back then.
think
This is all California.
I think it was
Yeah.
called Candy Cane Lane too, back
Yeah.
up there too.
Yeah, but they'd have the big, huge front yards, and they'll
Yeah.
be decked out, and the electric bill would just go.
Exactly.
So because they didn't have LEDs, and they had all
No,
those
everything caught. You plug those things in, you watch the meter on your house just going to hyper.
smoking.
Yeah.
Little WD-40 on it, put it out. Yeah, exactly.
I'm like, please break, please break, please break. Well, listen, coming in here not having any content really ready to go. Thank you guys for sitting in because I didn't really have much. I figured I would just lead us down a road of conversations, and it turned out pretty well on our end. I don't know how the listeners felt about it, but it was fun to go through that stuff. And it's always fun for me, and I think it'll be fun for the listeners too. They learn a little bit more about you two as brother and sister, the things with your family. You learn about the dad, the mom, the sister, the house, the area. There's a lot of connection there between the two of you. And I think that's always fun for me to pick up on the connection between you two, because not all siblings are close. There's some that don't see each other for 20 some years. And I think the fact that you guys are as close as you are is not only a testament to your parents and how you guys were brought up, but the two of you never quite let go. And the moment you got a chance to be back together again, you guys seem to pick up like right where you left off, like nothing had changed.
Exactly.
So I like that a lot.
Well, the other blessing too is having you part of this, and Briggs too having part of this. I mean, and GenX Talks has helped us also.
It's another thing that
bring us
it's
together.
another catalyst that brings
absolutely.
things together, and it's that reminds me of something that I was going to say that one of the
Chicks,
things,
man.
yeah, almost, but this is another segue to you again.
Okay.
So we're at 4 now. We're
Oh,
segueing
wow.
4 times to you.
Man,
I was
wait till you get the bill.
yeah, these little
He's going
salami
to need an
things.
agent pretty soon.
These salami things are $12 a piece. I found out as St. Donna gave them to me. One of the things that yes, GenX Talks and is the catalyst. But when Bima, when your mother passed away, there was a month or two there. You guys spent a lot of time together without other interference of the families. Anybody, it was just you guys. And I thought that I learned 2 things during that about you guys and the connection you guys have, how you guys fit so much together on brother and sister on that. Like I said, so many don't. That was one. And then this is another reaffirming moment of what a jerk your brother was.
Oh my gosh, what?
Well, I'll tell you what. I know the moment.
That was a segue.
I know the moment.
You got down a notch from Mr. Asshole to jerk, so you're down. It's better.
Mr.
I
Jerk Face.
still rather go with Mr.
Okay.
So I thought I was doing a wonderful guy thing, and this was for St. Donna and you.
What?
And you guys were down there.
And I think I know that one.
What?
Yeah. So I
was
sent
gonna say something.
I sent some DoorDashed or Ubered
Ice cream.
ice cream
Oh, yeah.
to you guys had a hard day. I mean, it's just one of those things. where we sent- I'm sorry. There's only one of us telling the story now. And so I sent ice cream down there, and I thought that would be a nice thing for St. Donna because we hadn't gotten to know each other very well, but I thought that'd be inclusive. And so then you guys FaceTimed me with a little camera afterwards, said, hey, thanks for the ice cream, blah, 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 and thank you very much. And that was it. I'm just about ready to hang up. And that face leans in and goes, hey, where was mine? How come I didn't get it? I like ice cream just like the next guy. I didn't get any ice cream. There's just two showed up there. I was like, he wanted ice cream, and then Mary's like, "You could have got him an ice cream." I'm just saying, you didn't have.
I never forgot
You
that either.
didn't have to not get him one. I'm like, it was kind of a chick thing. It was like an ice cream for girls, and it was.
You would have said the same thing if two showed up and one wasn't for you.
I don't know.
Yes, you would have.
So this is a segue, okay?
That's right. A segue to you.
Remember the decanter I was supposed to fill?
Yeah.
Oh, here we go.
Okay,
Yeah.
paybacks, brother. Payback.
Oh, I see. So you
that
didn't
was
get
on the contract.
You
if
didn't get
looked
a
at it.
$3 ice cream, and so the decanter to this day remains empty. Okay.
That's right.
It's going to remain empty.
Oh my God.
Oh well, thank you guys. You can switch cameras around. Let Sun Valley Fox say goodbye to everybody.
Bye, everybody. Appreciate it. I think you learned a lot more than I learned, too. So. But it's fun.
And GenX Mom.
Good family.
Bye, everyone. Thanks for listening.
And that'll about do it. We're done for the GenX Talks podcast, broadcast live on kgxtradio.com. Hope you guys listened in and had a good time. Hope it was legible, because sometimes we can't tell what you guys are hearing. We can hear us, but we can't hear you. And that's the way we should keep it, don't you think? A little bit of separation between church and state, I think, is good for everybody. Not sure where you're listening in from around the planet, AM, FM, Sirius XM, or perhaps you tuned in on the Armed Service Radio Network. But remember two things in life. Number one, wherever you go, there you are. And number two, I'll catch you guys on the flip side. I'm out.